So what is going on, guys? NandoPrince93 here with another video, and today finally got my hands on the iPad Pro 2020. We went the 11-inch space gray 64-inch non-cellular version. I know I told you guys that my biggest regret was not getting cellular, but I got this just as a review unit, really. I don't know if I'm going to keep it or not, but I kind of wanted to see if there were any real differences and any reason to upgrade from the 2018 iPad Pro to the 2020 iPad Pro. And one of the first things I'm testing out actually is the microphone array. So that's one of the new physical changes, I guess you can call them, of the iPad Pro 2020, alongside a few other things. But they took the same approach from the MacBook Pro 16-inch that they released early or late last year, and they totally changed up the microphone array, right, to be able to do pretty much studio quality mics in air quotes, right? So let me know what you guys think about this microphone quality. Like I said, the unboxing is very, very elegant, pretty, standard Apple. You get the charging cable, the charging brick, and the iPad itself. So I'm going to let the sound go on now. And this is the 2020 iPad Pro 11-inch, guys. So far the form factor, I like it. It's a little bit smaller than normal compared to my 12.9, obviously, but that's it, guys. So let's hop right into the video. So you guys just saw me unbox the iPad Pro 11-inch with the actual microphone array of the iPad Pro. So now we're back to the normal mic that's kind of sitting on my shirt. Let me know if you guys can actually tell the difference, if it's better on the iPad, if I should stick with this, whatever you guys think. But that's one of the things that has been improved on with the iPad Pro. So today we're literally just going to talk about the improvements and whether or not it's worth, buying one of these or maybe going with the 2018 version iPad Pro that's maybe refurbished, used, or buy it on Amazon, because right now all of them are pretty much $100 off. So the 12.9 64 gig starts at $899 versus obviously the new 2020 12.9 inch. Even it does have 120 gigs of storage. It starts at $999. So that's what we're going to talk about today, right? Pretty much we're going to go over everything that's new about the iPad Pro 2020 and then whether or not it's worth it. So the first thing, obviously, let's talk about the one lone visual difference, which is the actual camera array itself, right? So they have a 12 megapixel normal shooter, a 10 megapixel wide angle shooter, and then that LiDAR sensor. In my opinion, I don't really think it matters. Sure, it would work awesome for portrait photos, but Apple doesn't allow you to take portrait photos with a rear camera array for the iPad Pro. So unless they fix that through a software update, which I'm sure they will at some point, don't look at that as an advantage, because again, you can't even use it for portrait photos, which is what I think most people would want to use it for. That LiDAR detector is there mostly for augmented reality situations where the only use case I see myself using it for is maybe showing it off once to family and friends to say hey, let me put an IKEA chair in the corner, or let me put this bookshelf to see what it looks like, because it is pretty accurate. But the only use case I would really use it for is probably for measurements, right? To measure how long a wall is, measure how long that bookshelf is that I want to put in there, things like that. Because I did test it. It is a lot more accurate than the normal augmented reality features that come on any other camera, because it's not using anything crazy. It's literally just using the optical sensors as opposed to the LiDAR detector. So that's the use case that I see myself using it the most, but it would be more beneficial if it was on a smaller device, which I'm sure Apple will add to the new iPhones that come out next year or later this year. Then the other physical differences were pretty much all internal, right? Like I said, you have the camera, which you can visually see. They added the A12Z Bionic, which all it does is adds I think it's 2 more GPU cores. So for graphic intensive circumstances, maybe you'll see a little bit more of a future proof in that aspect. But overall, you're not going to see a day-to-day difference, in my opinion, right? They do all come with 6 gigs of RAM standard, as opposed to 4 gigs of RAM on the iPad Pro 2018. The only way you could get 6 gigs of RAM on the 2018 version is if you went up to the 1 terabyte model. Otherwise, you were stuck with 4 gigs, which for me, I've been using it as my main device for about 7-8 months now. Never have I had a RAM issue or a RAM hiccup with things not loading correctly, with it not working, with me pretty much throwing too much at it. I've never had that issue. So those are the 3 main differences that come with the new iPad Pro, right? You have the LiDAR scanner, the new ultra-wide camera, and then the chipset. Other than that, you're gonna have a very, very familiar experience. iPadOS 13.4 works on both of these iPads, and it works with a bunch of older and less expensive iPads. You don't need a Pro version iPad to get mouse support now, which is really, really nice. Another reason why it's not an essential upgrade or a needed upgrade is because the one main awesome feature, which is the Magic Keyboard case that's coming out in May, is backwards compatible. So it works with the 2018 models. Maybe it'll look a little bit funny with the big square cutout on the back and only one camera sensor, but at the end of the day, I don't really care. I'm not gonna spend over $1,000 plus a $350 just to use the Magic Keyboard, and so that cutout doesn't look awkward, right? So that's like that. I think by Apple doing that, that was awesome, right? Again, they're pretty much saying that the iPad Pro is still an amazing device. Just the 2020 version is maybe a little bit more future-proof, but by a little bit more, I mean maybe by 2025, you'll start seeing the differences, right? Like I think I still have a solid 5 years on this iPad Pro. Obviously, maybe I'll upgrade before that, but if I wanted to, I could use this for the next 5 years, for the 2018 one. And maybe the 2021 will last me 7-8 years. Who knows what that GPU difference will really do. But from a benchmark perspective, they're very similar. From a usability perspective, all pretty much the same. So if you have an iPad Pro right now, do not upgrade to the iPad Pro 2020. I just don't see the real necessity in doing it. From a form factor standpoint, obviously I got two different sizes, but from a thinness standpoint, they're exactly the same form factor. I do like the size of the 11-inch. It's a little more portable when it comes to just grabbing it and doing something real quick on the go, as opposed to the 12.9-inch, which is a little bit bigger. I would use it more as a standalone device, kind of putting it at a desk to use it to the best, maybe keeping it at a desk, and that's why the 12.9-inch is a little bit better in that aspect. But again, if you have a 2018 iPad Pro, and unless you want to change the size or add cellular functionality, there is no point in you upgrading, in my opinion. So overall, they're welcome upgrades. They're nice to have. If you don't have an iPad Pro right now and you really want to get one, sure, go for the new one because it is nice. But I would say if you can find an iPad Pro 2018 that's $200 or more off from the original price, go with the regular iPad Pro, guys. You don't need the LiDAR scanner. It's not really a $200 upgrade. The only thing that maybe would help out is the extra 2 gigs of RAM, because that does give it a little more leeway in terms of future-proofing, like I said, and being able to use more things at once and not, overheating the device. But again, I've never had an issue even with the 4 gigs of RAM, guys. So that's my 2 cents. It works exactly the same. It's a very familiar device. All the peripherals that work with the 2018 iPad Pro will work with the iPad Pro 2020. All my USB-C dongles will work. Obviously the keyboard won't fit, but if I had gotten the 12.9 2020 version, literally all of my accessories, besides the Apple keyboard case, would have worked perfectly fine. And the Apple keyboard case still works. It's a little awkward looking, and you'll see like a little bulge on the back, but it does work, right? So that's gonna do for this video. I know there's been a lot of reviews in respects to this guy, but I just wanted to give you guys the unboxing, a quick little overview of what was new about it, and then also comparing it and whether or not it is a good buy. Because at the end of the day, they look identical on the front. They look 95% identical on the back. They're the same thickness, same form factor. And that's pretty much gonna do it, guys. So thank you so much for watching. If you made it to the end, definitely leave a comment below. Let me know what you guys want me to try with the new iPad Pro 2020, because maybe there are a couple things that I, on the surface level, can't really see, but for my minimal time using it, it's the same exact experience. Absolutely no difference for the end user. So that's gonna do it for this video. Until next time, guys. Peace.